Hey y'all, welcome back. My name is Crystal, and I've got a book chat video for you. I got another weekly wrap up, though it is a little late than a week because we just got back from our vacation. We spent a week away in the mountains here in North Carolina. We rented a little cabin, and we just had a really nice time. Got to unplug and unwind, sightsee a little bit, did some hiking, saw some waterfalls, all that fun stuff. And it was so wonderful, much needed for all of us. And now we're back. That week went fast, but we're back, and today we're kind of easing back into real life. Got a mountain of laundry to finish, that sort of stuff. I thought I'd go ahead and do my weekly wrap up for the third week here in July. Like I said, it's a couple days late, but that's okay. I actually have 8 books to talk about because I read the hell out of some books on vacation, and I took advantage of not having a TV, not having really reliable internet service, wishy-washy Wi-Fi, and I read a lot of books. So let's get started. The first few are not vacation reads, but I finished them up here in this third week. The first of which is The Unfortunate Elements of My Anatomy by Hailey Piper. This is a collection of short stories by Hailey, and I loved them. Hailey, I don't know, she's quickly become a fave of mine. I love the way she writes, and I love what she writes about. There's always little hints of witchy vibes, bit of cosmic stuff thrown in, this uneasiness that sort of permeates throughout, and I love it. And I really liked this collection. And some of my favorites here, I wrote down on my list here: Feast for Small Pieces, I'm Not a Chainsaw Kind of Girl, but Demons of a Particular Taste, 7 Signs He Doesn't Love You. That was Crones in Their Larval State. I mean, that's like the best title ever. Harry Jack. That one actually had a sci-fi twist to it. Was that their sci-fi one? No, I'm not remembering. But anyway, The Burning of the Blueberries. That one was very kind of cult type story with a supernatural bent. Liked that one. Among the Creatures of the Night, and the recitation of the first feeding. Those are just some of the faves that I liked. And yeah, it's a short story collection, so they're all different, and I really enjoyed it. Recommend it. And then I finished Needful Things by Stephen King. This is officially a reread for me. I listened to the audiobook, and this one Stephen King narrates himself, which I thought was very fun. He does a wonderful job. This one's slightly chunky. I read this first when I was a teenager, so that was like years ago. And this was the Stephen King kind of read-along book for July for the Stephen King read-along that we chat about over on Bragg Proctor's Discord. Kelly Hooked on Books kind of took over the reins and is selecting our books each month. And this is a classic King. I think, we've got a small town of Castle Rock, and this guy moves into town and opens up a shop there on, the small downtown area. And everyone's curious, gosh, what's this store going to be? Who is this guy? This Leland Gaunt. And his store is called Needful Things. And some folks may look in the windows and be like, gosh, this is like a hodgepodge of junk. But as they say, another man's junk is another man's treasure. And so there's a little something for everyone inside Needful Things. You just have to pay for it the best way that you can. Sometimes it's just by playing a trick on someone in the town. Pretty soon all hell breaks loose. And I loved this. A lot of it I really didn't remember because it had been so long, so I was kind of reading it again for the first time. And gosh, I really love this book. It's definitely one of my favorite Kings, maybe not the fave, but gosh, I love this book. You know, King writes a character like no one else. You know, you get really into their lives and into this town itself, of course. And no one does it better. You know, and this is all about characters and what would you do for something that you loved, right? Something that you just needed to have. And this really explores that and how little, you know, people can be manipulated, how easy that is. And yeah, I loved it. Loved it. So I really enjoyed that. All right. And then I listened to another audiobook for The Memory Keeper's Daughter by Kim Edwards. This was narrated by Martha Plimpton. Now, this is the second book I've read that is narrated by Martha Plimpton, and she also does a really great job. If you know Martha from old, like, 80s movies, and she still works today, but you know what I mean, from the Goonies in particular, right? And anyway, this was part of my project that I'm doing for reading books that have characters with Down syndrome. I'm not going to talk too much about it now. I think I'll probably do a separate chat about it to go more in depth. Let's just say I didn't like it. And we'll move on from there. Okay. Next, we're going to pick up my vacation reads. And I started out with probably a perfect summer book. Paradise Club by Tim Meyer. I mean, if that cover doesn't scream summertime, then I don't know what does, right? And this one, all right. So we have a family of 4, and they have won a trip to this sort of all-inclusive resort on this tropical island. You know, all expenses paid. You just gotta come for the week. You're gonna have a great time. I think it's called Paradise Island, maybe. Anyway, and so they get there. You know, everything seems great, but then they're told to put their cell phones in a bag. You can't have access to your cell phones, and because we want you to unplug. We want you to get away and enjoy your time. Reluctantly, everyone does that. Now, our main character here is Elliot Harper, and he's actually an FBI agent. But like I said, his wife, and he has 2 children, one of which is like a teenage girl. Is her name Gwen? I can't remember now. And a kind of a younger son. And when he gets there, he goes off for a walk, kind of, check the place out, what they got here, kind of thing. And he's out for a walk, and he sees something he shouldn't have seen. And really, from there, hell breaks loose. And come to find out, there's killers loose on this island, and all of these people that are here to stay have to survive. So it's a top-notch slasher. You got a lot of, slasher gore, killing in all kinds of crazy ways. So that part's really fun, So if you like a slasher book, this is definitely right up your alley. But there is a slight twist to this. I don't want to say too much, where it goes into a slightly different direction, and I loved that direction because I love that kind of stuff. Some people, it might put some people off, but I really enjoyed it. So this is, like I said, the majority of it's a fun slasher. It takes a little odd turn. That was very interesting to me, and it has some fun characters. The writing was really fun, and just a lot of fun killing, and it was definitely a perfect summer read. Paradise Club, Tim Meyer. I think I landed on 4 stars for that one. It was a fun one. Let's see. When I read this, I should say, because I am doing the Indie Accords readathon, this one I used for the prompt to something set at sea or at a like a beach side. Perfect fit for that. I think if you're still looking for something for the readathon, this could go for the ensemble cast, and it could probably work for the middle-aged main character as well. Elliot Harper, I think he's like 40-something years old, which a little younger than middle-aged, but I think it could work for that one as well. So if you're needing something to fill in some of the gaps for the readathon, I would suggest those. Alrighty, I next dove into Criterium by Tyler Jones. This one I read through Kindle Unlimited. Also ended up reading this one for the Indie Accords readathon. It had been on my radar for a while, so perfect reason to dive into it. This one I used for the prompt to read about a quest. It's possibly drawing the line, but I'm using it. The book that I originally planned for this, Broken World by someone, was not good. I started it and didn't like it, so I went with this one instead. This is ultimately a story about drug abuse and how it affects a family. And right there, sort of in the beginning parts of the story, the father of the family is the one that is addicted to drugs, and he sort of disappoints his family over and over again. His wife's just about had it, his children are, like, what the heck are you doing, Dad? All this kind of thing. And one night he just walks out, and, well, let's just say he doesn't make it back, and he dies in a pretty horrific way. The son, Zach, I believe was his name, saw the after effects of his death. Let me say that. And, and of course he's very sad, and he's dealing with his grief, and you would think maybe he would deal with it differently, and he ends up following that same path down the road of drugs, and he soon becomes an addict himself. And it's one day when he's needing a fix, he's needing something, and he doesn't have any money, so he's kind of like just walking around town, and he sees this beautiful bicycle on the sidewalk, and it's gorgeous and shiny, and it looks custom made, and it looks amazing, and he's like, man, I could really sell this thing, give me what I need. But when he hops on this bike, let's just say the bike has a different idea for young Zach, and he takes him on this ride that Zach will soon never forget. This is where the sort of quest comes into play that I used for the prompt. And like I said, ultimately it's just about how drug abuse really affects the family, and it's done really well. And I think Tyler Jones it was wonderfully written. I thought he did a really wonderful job with this. It can sometimes fall into cliche, when you're writing about drug use, I didn't find that so much here. It had a lot of heart to it and a lot of sadness, and you really felt the emotions, and I thought it was really wonderfully done, and had this sort of slightly little strange tale, but I liked it. I really enjoyed it, so I gave it 4 stars. Recommend it. Then I finished Dawn of the Living Impaired and Other Messed Up Zombie Stories by Christine Morgan. This is exactly what it is. 1, it's an amazing cover. 2, it's a short story collection all about zombies. Now, this one I used for the prompt for Indie Accords Readathon to read a dystopian post-apocalyptic type story. To me, nothing says post-apocalyptic than zombies, and I love zombies. I know zombie stories get a bad rap, but I love a zombie book, and I really liked this collection. A wonderful mix of zombie stories. There's even like a historical fiction type story and set in like the Viking type era. All kinds of stuff. There's one I really liked, was from the perspective of a dog. The sort of title story, Dawn of the Living Impaired, was about how zombies are out, and there's this sort of coalition to what's the word I'm looking for? not revive, like rehabilitate. You know, they have rights too. They're not dead. They're just living impaired, and it's kind of ridiculous, but like, could it kind of happen? People would really probably do that. And anyway, like I said, just a really fun mix of about 7 or 8ish, 9 stories or so. I can't remember exactly. And just good zombie stories. If you like zombie stories, you'll like this collection. You know, if zombies aren't your jam, you're not gonna probably like this collection, you know, but it's a very good mix of different kinds of stories, different kind of zombie lore, and, you know, different play on the genre. They're not all typical. I really enjoyed it. Very, very fun read. Let's see, just a couple more. I'm trying to go through this. I read Survive the Night by Riley Sager. I was looking really forward to this one. This was for April over getting Hugo with it. It's her book club for the month. We also kind of did a little buddy read over in Shades of Orange, her Discord. A couple folks read it together there, so I was looking forward to this one. I like a good thriller, you know, every now and then. And I've only read one other Riley Sager book. I own them all. Actually, you can see them here. I've only read one so far. I don't know. I buy books. I don't read them, okay? Anyway, but I was like excited for this one because the premise definitely pulled me in. You've got, you know, a girl who's in college, and she's like really needing to get home fast, and she doesn't drive herself, and so she was looking for a ride share, which happens a lot in college. This is set in the 1990s. This was a thing. I mean, when I was in college in the 90s, and you definitely like looked for rides for help. You know, just if you were going my way, I'll help you with gas money if you can get me near to where I need to be, that kind of thing. It was a thing. It's not something out of the ordinary. And plus, I loved that it was set in the 90s. I was like, oh, looking forward to the 90s nostalgia. So I was like, excited about this book, and I was super disappointed by this. It just ended up being very middle of the road. I don't know. So, all right. The main character's name is Charlie, and she's a film student. Like, films are her life. Like, she loves movies. Fine. She's wanting to get out of town because her roommate and best friend Maddie was murdered by this killer called the Campus Killer. Maddie is now, I think, the 3rd or 4th girl over 4 or 5 years to be killed. So we're at serial killer status for this. And her friends die. She's not coping very well with being in school, going to class. She's just not doing it. She's like, I just need to go home. Home for her is in, I think it was Ohio. I think this took place in New York or something like that. I forget. But hey, she's having to travel through a few states. So she meets this guy at the rideshare board, and he's like, yeah, I'm going into Ohio. Awesome, I'll take you. They get in the car. Things start happening. Maddie is just, she's not sure what to trust anymore. She's having difficulty trusting herself. There's so much guilt she has because she feels responsible for Maddie's death. And then she's starting to think that maybe this guy that's driving her is the killer. And so she's like, what the hell am I gonna do? Kind of thing. Story goes from there. It goes off the rails. I don't know. There's like twist and a twist, and I just was like, I don't really care. The Charlie girl, I get she was sad that her roommate and best friend was murdered and stuff, but this like constant, oh, it's my fault. Oh, I can't help out. I couldn't help her. I mean, it got too much, guys. This main character was annoying. I don't know. And then the very end, when I was irritated. So it was just very middle of the road. I mean, I finished it, so I mean, it kept me turning the pages. I mean, it was interesting in that way, but it was a letdown. I just was expecting a little more from this story, and it missed the mark for me. I know some folks have loved it, but it missed the mark for me, my friends. So, I don't know, 3 stars because it was just middle of the road. And then finally, I finished Choke by Chuck Palaniuk. Now this is, again, technically a reread for me. I read this back in, when did this come out? Let's look, because that's when I read it. 1990. Oh God. Oh, 2001? 2001? I guess so. Early 2000s. So I read it then. This is my original copy and everything. So I really loved this reread. I'm a Chuck Palaniuk fan anyway. So I know he's not everyone's cup of tea. He's very much my cup of tea. I've been reading him since 1998. I don't even know whatever year that was when I first discovered him. So anyway, so this has, to me, one of the best opening lines of a book. It says, if you're going to read this, don't bother. You're warned right in the very beginning that you're probably not going to like this book. It's full of gross people you don't like, and talks about some gross or ridiculous things. You're not going to probably get on with this book. But hey, you want to keep reading it? Hey, I warned you, right? I love that. So our main character is Victor Mancini. He's sort of, I don't want to call him a loser. He's a character. Okay, so he works at a place called Colonial Dunsboro. It's sort of this living history type thing. We've probably all been to one at some point through like a field trip or on a vacation or something like that. And he plays the part of an Irish indentured servant, and so that's his job. He's very, very minimum wage. He has a mother who's very ill, and she is staying in basically a home to help with her medical, needs, and that's very expensive. And so along the way, Victor has come up with this scheme to fake choke in restaurants so people will save him. And once they have saved him, they feel kind of responsible for his life, and they will send him money if he needs it. $50 here, $100 there, and it helps him pay his bills and help keep his mom in this very expensive facility. Victor's also a sex addict, and we see him dealing with that as well. And he has a roommate and friend named Denny, who's also a sex addict and also works at the Colonial Dunsboro place, and that's how they met, All right, this story. So we're following Victor as he is dealing with trying to find money. Why does he do the things he do? It flashes back to like when he was a little kid, and his mom, raising him, kind of, sorta. She was in jail a lot, in and out of jail. And she would come basically abduct him from like different foster homes and stuff and fill his head with all kinds of stuff. His mom's a little off a rocker. Let's just say that. And you learn why Victor is the way he is, why he does the things he does and all that kind of stuff. And it's classic Chuck. It's classic Chuck. And it's full of sex, drugs, and crazy folks, and all kinds of stuff. And I loved it. I loved it all over again, and I'm so happy to have reread it. This was for the July pick for Spinebreakers Book Club, which is hosted by Brad Proctor. I'll link all that below. And I loved it. I'm very excited to have reread it, and I just I don't know what else to say other than I loved it. So that's all the books I read. Oh my gosh, it's so many. Another long video. I apologize. But that's it. Whew. What did you finish up this past week? Let me know. Have you survived the night? Did you like it? Because I really was disappointed by that one. Anywho, that's going to do it for me today. Thanks as always for watching and putting up with me and my awkwardness. I so appreciate it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.